Hello, everybody. How's it going? Happy Friday. Hope everybody is doing well. Hello, hello. Looks like some of our friends are in the house. Awesome. Glad to see it. How's it going, guys? How's it going? Hope you're having a good evening, great week. Good start to the weekend here on Social Hour. Bum, ba-da-dum, bum, bum, bum. It's Friday. All right. Anyway, let's see who is joining us this evening. Hope you guys are doing well. Dodgson, how's it going, Dodgson? Good to see you. We got LBT Electric Dino. Hello. Jacob, hello. How are you? Paul, how's it going? I love seeing these conversations in the chat, by the way, when you guys are talking to each other. I love that. I love seeing like that dialogue. It's fun. Tim, how's it going? Good to see you. I don't want to grow hut. I like the name. How's it going? Adam, how you doing, Adam? Good to see you as always. Peak Obi-Wan, how is it going? Hello there, indeed. All right, my friends, good to see you. Happy Friday. I'm glad that you guys are with us this evening. So I have two guests that are going to be joining us in just a little bit. Really excited to have them on. Until then, let's just hang out and chat a little bit and see what's going on. What is the latest collectible you've added to your collection? Tell me in the chat. I want to know what the latest. Have you added anything to your collections this week? Let me know what that is so I can highlight you and we can talk about your latest acquisition. And I'll tell you whether or not it was a good buy or a bad buy. No, I'm just kidding. I won't do that. But yeah, just let me know. Let me know what you got because I'm curious. Utah Dawn, how's it going? My best Chewy impression via keyboard. Indeed. Keyboard is the best way to do it. So Utah Dan says he got the Disney Drink Droid, showed up today, the Jabba's Palace one from Return of the Jedi. Yeah, they finally put it on Shop Disney. I was at Disneyland last week and it was sold out. They didn't have it anywhere at Disneyland. So I was really glad that it went up online because then I ordered it and I got it in too. And actually Hasbro made that figure 8 years ago, 9 years ago, a long time ago when they were doing that Entertainment Earth big multi-pack. They actually did it in that pack with the drink tray and everything. But I will say the Shop Disney version looks so much better. It's just got more deco on and more detail. It looks better. Even though it's missing those wires on the feet as always. It's always annoying. But hey, progress is progress, right? The paint is better than the Hasbro effort. $29 speeder bike from Target. Nice. Nice. I did see that Amazon put it for $29. I didn't know that Target did too. Sirens going by. Not sure if you could hear that or not. Sideshow Clone Wars Yoda arrived at long last. I feel like I asked you this already, Adam, but is it a bust or is it like a figure? I feel like I asked you this already, and I apologize if I did. I just have a bad memory when it comes to some of this stuff because there's so much merchandise out there. But yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad you got a Clone Wars Yoda. Any Clone Wars Yoda, anything is good. Paul Morales got Peak Obi-Wan. How did that work? How did you get Peak Obi-Wan in your collection? Interesting. Fatmatic, how's it going? Revenge of the Sith Plo Koon's Jedi Starfighter 40th Anniversary Return of the Jedi Gamorrean card. Very nice. Yeah, that is a good one. And I always thought that was interesting when you're watching Revenge of the Sith and you see the Phase 1, let's call it, Jedi Starfighter show up and it's Plo Koon in it. I was like, oh, why does Plo Koon have the old style Jedi Starfighter? What is it, the Class 1? And then I think in Revenge of the Sith, it's like the Eda Class 2. I always wondered, why is Plo Koon so badass that he gets to keep the old style Jedi Starfighter, but everybody else gets the new one? I don't know. Kind of things that I wonder about that probably nobody else does. And the Return of the Jedi Gamorrean Guard. Very nice. Very nice. You can never have too many pig guards. Renz, hello. How's it going? Good evening. Oh, I love your avatar, by the way. Oh, I love that. I love that. That's awesome. So Tim also got the speeder bike from Target, 3 clone troopers from Hasbro Pulse, and a vintage collection #1 Dengar from eBay. Yeah, I always thought it was weird that Dengar was TVC #1 in the vintage collection 1.0. Like, why Dengar? Like, what significant? I mean, yeah, he's Dengar, right? But what significance does he have that earns him #1 over who else was in that wave? Like Hoth Leia, I think was Han in that wave too. I think with the goggles and the torch. Like why was Dengar #1? Like I still to this day have no idea why he was, and maybe it just wasn't important. That's why he was #1, right? But it's just kind of a weird thing. Like why was he #1? I mean, I would have gone with like Leia. I mean, why Dengar? I don't know. But you got the speeder bike as well. And you got 3 clone troopers from Pulse. Very nice. Is that the new the phase 2 one that we reviewed when we did that wave? The new one, new sculpt. Very nice. Very nice. The new one is better. Speeder bike. I have a hard time. I don't know if you're referring to the speeder bike, but I have the new one and I have the old ones from 10 years ago or so. And I don't know which one I like better personally. I like them both. I would say that aesthetically, the new one looks better. But I feel like the old one, like I liked how the old one had like the movable handlebars. I'm like going like this, like I'm working out on the machine. And I like how the old one had the really high like base. I thought that was really neat. But I will say that the new one looks nice. But yeah, I just wish some of the parts like the handlebars and some of the leg bars were adjustable. I don't know why they chose to not do it that way. But yeah, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. Like some steps forward, some steps back. So I don't really understand. I don't want to grow hut and use pickups at Disney Droid and some Joy Toy figs to go with my Jurassic stuff. Love how they work together. You'll need to send me a picture on Instagram so I can check that out. That sounds interesting. I'm a weirdo. I have OCD. I don't like to mix and match like different lines. But that's just me because I'm a weirdo. I'm glad you can do it. And it's cool when you can do it because I've seen photos of people mixing and matching like stuff. My friend Tom Jurassic has photos mixed with like I think it's like the Schleich, not the dinosaurs, but like the play sets, and it looks great. But I just for photos I could probably do it, but for like display on my shelf, I don't know. I'm a weirdo. I can't. It sounds cool though. Credit card debt you are in. Yep. Always happens. Adam, it's a figure. Very nice. Yeah, so I know Sideshow is doing like the 1/6 scale, like these guys, the 1/6 scale. This way, the 1/6 scale. They're doing like the Anakin, the Ahsoka, the Obi-Wan, the Yoda. I don't have them, but I've seen like reviews online. So I think if that's the one I'm thinking of, they're nice. Oddball, do you copy? Mark my position. Black Series Ezra, very nice. Yeah, the Black Series Rebel figures were really well done. Like all of them were really, really well done. So I know it's a bummer that they don't exist in the vintage collection, but yeah, they treated them very well in the Black Series. I'm really glad that you're able to enjoy those because they look great. I love how Chopper, if you get Chopper, has the little flame effect thing. That's pretty cool because that Black Series they don't really, when it comes to like droids, they don't really price down. They price the same as everything else. But if it's a slightly bigger figure, and this applies to TVC too, they always price up. They never price down. So it's a good thing that like on Chopper, little droid like that, even in 6-inch scale, that they included the extras because it was really needed. Good point, Leathery Man. And the Clone Wars Plo Koon still has the Delta 2. So that is good to remind me about. Zeph, local store got in Huntington Beach, got 40 new Andor clones, and I picked up a case. Very nice. Very nice. That's a good find. That is a really good find. Really enjoying looking at you guys' finds this week. Jacob picked up Reva, Rocket Trooper, RC 1140, 13th Battalion Trooper, 5th Brother Inquisitor, and all those 6-inch Black Series, and a 50th group. That's a good haul right there. That is a good haul. Good on you for collecting all of those. Hello, middle-aged Kiwi man collecting Star Wars. Kia ora to you as well. Glad to have you back with us. We had my friend here on our show a few weeks back, and we had a lot of fun. Good to know. Thank you for that tidbit there. Zeph got the 1998 Naboo Starfighter. Not sure how it compares to the newer one in the green evergreen box. Need to look it up. Very nice. Very nice. And Tim, not only was the number one, but why is he so darn expensive? Good question. Good question. Alex, good to have you in here with us this evening. Is that Clone Pilot oddball behind you? I don't think it is. I think it's just a Clone Pilot. And Adam, very nice. Oh, and Wilson, good to see you. You got an Aqua Spinosaurus. That's a good acquisition too. So thanks to everybody for sharing with me your acquisitions this week. Sounds like everybody's been doing pretty well for themselves, and without breaking the bank, seemingly so. So very, very cool. All right, my friends. So without further ado, really happy to have these next two guests here with us this evening. It's been a while since I've had one of them on the show, probably over a year at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and bring them on in. So please, a nice, big, warm Cantina welcome. All right, we have 1/6 scale man. Lael, how's it going?
How you doing?
Have Latoya T.
Hello, hi
Hey,
everybody.
how are
Hi
you?
Victoria, how are you?
I'm doing great. It's good to see you guys. Thanks for joining in.
Hey, no
Yeah,
doubt,
thanks for
no doubt,
having
definitely.
us.
Thanks for inviting us.
Yeah.
Oh, my pleasure. It's an honor to have both of you on the show.
Mhm.
So what's good?
Nothing. We
Just got back from seeing the Flash in IMAX,
yeah,
and it was amazing.
yeah,
Nice. I'm
yeah.
going tomorrow to see it. I'm really, 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 really excited.
Yeah, it's like going to see it in IMAX. It kind of just makes you not ever want to see
Oh
it
my
in
God.
2D ever again.
Yeah.
Like literally, like going to see it in IMAX, the sound quality, just the attention to detail. You know, you pay attention to things that you didn't, because we went to go see it in 2D yesterday. But then we went, today, and we weren't going to go see it yesterday, but I just don't like being spoiled. So I was like, you know what, I'll just
So
go
he
see it
dragged me
first.
out last night.
Exactly. So we went and saw it, and yeah, that was it. Enjoyed it, had a good time, and then went today and saw it in IMAX, and it blew my mind. It was
Blew us
incredible.
away.
Definitely incredible.
Right on. That sounds great. I'm really looking forward to it. I've heard some good things, and just really, really excited for that. So I'm sorry I can't share in the conversation about it because I haven't seen it yet, but glad that you both enjoyed it.
We'll catch you in the chat somewhere.
Yeah, we'll
Chop it
definitely
up.
see. I will. Here's the thing. I will say this though. So, you've probably seen it. There's a lot of people talking about the CGI in the film. A lot of it was intentional, but just keep in mind, like when people talk about CGI, I think that we've gotten a bit too spoiled by it, because then it becomes an expectation, and we focus on that less on the story. And the story that's being told. And for people like me and others who were born in born in the 70s, raised in the 80s, you know what I mean, and we remember all 80s films and everything in like the early 90s. CG was wonky all the time, but they pretty much focused on the story. That's all we had, was good storytelling, because we had amazing writers, and I think that's what they did to compensate for what they couldn't pull off in CGI. Now it's the other way around, where the CGI is just the spectacle of any film that you go see, and then it's less attention on the story and what is being told. I think the story being told in this film is excellent.
Yeah, it's really good.
But even Andy Muschietti actually admitted that the CGI in certain forms was intentional because of it being the multiverse and stuff like that. So again, just go into it with open mind. And the thing is, the CGI is not as bad as everybody wants you to believe. I mean, it's not the greatest, but it's not as bad. It's not at all.
But there's some points of excellence there too.
Yeah.
With the CGI, you'll see for yourself.
Yeah, when you see it, you'll understand. Yeah.
All right. Well, sounds good. Thanks for the heads up on that. Yeah, and I did see a couple articles earlier. I try not to read too much into them, but yeah, I saw a couple.
Just see it for yourself. Formulate your own opinion. See it for yourself. I call them keyboard critics because a lot of people who haven't actually seen.
You got a nickname for everybody.
Literally, I call them keyboard critics because a lot of people haven't. They're self-anointed, self-appointed critics. Who follow the trend. So to speak. There's always a trend to be followed, and they follow that trend, and not leaving it up to everyone else to see it for themselves. So,
right.
I'll say.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a good point. There is so much CGI in everything, even like movies that aren't really about anything involving, fantasy or superheroes. Like you still see CGI incorporated somehow a lot of the time. So, very cool. Very cool. So before you guys came on, I was talking to our audience here about things that they've acquired over the past week. So I was wondering if either of you acquired anything brand new this week.
Oh, a lesson plan template. I'm teaching summer school, so half my days are dedicated to summer enrichment. So
yeah,
new lesson plan templates and new schedules.
I actually got my rogue in. A rogue that, again, like for us collectors, we know how it is. Like you pay for something, it's paid off, and you just wait. You wait and see when it's going to arrive, if it's ever going to arrive. Something that should have arrived a year ago arrives now. Yeah, I mean, so I got that in like I think a few days ago. So that was the last thing that I actually received. There's expectations from some more to come. I just don't know when it's going to actually arrive yet. Now that Crosshair has been released, I'm like, okay, I'm waiting for the notification on that. Once that, pretty much gets to my guy Ray over Underground, then he'll just send it out. But yeah, it's just a waiting period right now. But yeah, starting to get some of the stuff that, I've been waiting on for a long period of time. So yeah.
Have you gotten anything in this week? Anything exciting?
This week? Yeah, so I guess, because I knew that Leo was going to be on the show, I decided that, we need to have some 1/6 scale love here in the background. So my Hot Toys displays are over to the side, so they're not in my background, unfortunately. But I was able to pull these out. I just pull them out just a little bit.
It's crazy because I have mine sitting in a box because I have. She hates it.
Which one? Which box?
The big box right there.
Fit 11 of them over here.
The big box at the bottom. So I have both the clone troopers. So I have 2 clone troopers and 2 clone pilots. And they're in there. I just haven't cracked them open. They've been sitting over there for about a month now. But I haven't had the time to really open them because, everything else is taking shape. I mean, I had a display that I had to put together over here to kind of migrate certain things over. I'm finding that doing a display this way creates more space. So I was thinking about getting another one to kind of condense. So then it gives her more space to play down there and gets rid of some of these details. So that's what I'm kind of looking at and envisioning in my head on how I can do that and make it easier for her, because the more space you have, the less details you have to worry about. But yeah, I have those they're sitting over there, and everybody, like, my intention is to get to that this weekend. Hopefully, is to get to that this weekend and get them out and get them in the display. Here's the thing, Victoria, I finally opened, which you can't really see it, but back here you see Boba Fett on the throne.
Oh yeah.
So I opened up Boba Fett on the throne. I think it was it might have been, it was yesterday before we went to go see The Flash. I was down here while I was working and I opened it up. I was like, let me get it in display. And I just popped it in display. And yeah, so it's a struggle, but I'm getting things open one by one. So
yeah, I can certainly relate. I have boxes that I still haven't unboxed, things here in this collection room, things maybe outside the collection room that I've heard a word or two from my husband about. So yeah, I can certainly relate. But I just got off for summer break too. I'm a teacher, and finally summer vacation. And so my plan is, I started last weekend, like kind of getting into things and opening them up a little bit. I still got a long ways to go. So that's my plan this summer. I'm going to try and spend as much time as I can getting organized, because there's never enough room for the things I like to buy.
Never.
Yeah, I'm learning that.
Never enough. Never enough. She comes downstairs, and the thing is, my plan is always to try to see what I can do to condense and make more space. And then when I move stuff over, I'm finding that, okay, because I'm getting to the boxes one by one and I'm getting them moved over. But then I have, like, you know, I call it like the black box. So when people see me do like most of my take your positions or unboxings, I do it in like two of my black boxes. One is dedicated towards like statues and most quarter scale pieces, and then one is dedicated towards like 6 scale, or one just gives me more space to kind of play around. But I'm finding that even with those there, it's causing more problems for her because she still has stuff over there. So what I'm going to do is I'll probably get rid of those or move them to a certain spot, and yeah, we'll just, you know, do something different. So yeah, I'm just trying to make room for her, because I know she looks at me she comes down here, looks at us, like, yo, this is too much stuff.
The boxes just keep coming. I'm like, you know what? Just have it. Just have the basement. I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a trial and error thing too with me, because I start organizing and I'm like, okay, I'm going to take these off the shelf, put these on the shelf. And then it's like, okay, well, now they're off the shelf. Now where do they go? So it's like, you know, it's like trial and error.
Yep. Same thing. It's always sickening.
Yeah.
But I love it down here too. So I can't complain too much, because I come down and I'm like, oh, that's an awesome display. Like what you did with the organizer here. Like, I love this.
That looks great.
And even though more like empty boxes were supposed to go there so that I could have more space, like that looks great there. So it's like, I can't really complain because I enjoy seeing it myself. So.
See, here's the thing, right? I had a plan to take that organizer because what I did was I purchased the, well, here's the thing. They've been self-anointed Costa cases now. You know what I mean? So they call them Costa cases, but what they are muscle racks or garage shelves that you get from Home Depot. So what I did was I purchased those, and I just created my own units. Like I've created, you know, my own, you know, cabinet shelf, got wood, painted them black, and it looks just like a Maju case, but it's just basically a muscle rack that I've, you know, just, you know, pretty much modified. So the intention was to put it in the middle of the detox over here. But aesthetic wise, she's used to the aesthetics. She likes everything to look a certain way. So she was like, don't do it, because then you'll break up the dichotomy of the detox. So just put it at the end. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I'll put it at the end. And now there's another ounce of space that's being sacrificed because of that idea. So there you go.
There you go. Yeah. Well, at least, you know, she's really cool with that. You know, it's not easy to find somebody that is, you know, supportive of, you know, collecting interests and hobbies. So, you know, that's awesome.
Yeah. Definitely.
Well, awesome. So there's a question here about Hunter. So I think this is maybe a good one, Lael, for you to answer. So how do we feel about Hot Toys Hunter, the armor coming modified, Clone Commando armor, but the sideshow is very animated, inspired? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, the thing is, because we know that Hot Toys, with them, they look for accuracy, and they're looking for, what they do is they tread between what is more so reality, or they want to make it as conventional as possible for both, that it can teeter between both or paying homage to the Bad Batch, but at the same time it gives it that realism that they can see that can mesh with the rest of your figures, which I definitely appreciate. You know, I appreciate that they do something like that. But the armor it's not noticeably different, but it's different in a way that it's more so in sync to most of your clone, like you said, your clone pilots, most of your clones that you get, most of your clone commanders, stuff like that. So it is modified. Sideshow, they're staying within that animated realm because that's what they know they're good at. Sideshow is not good at I want to say like just like their 6 scale figures, you know, trying to come up with like really decent head sculpts that would emulate, you know, the actor itself. They're not good at that. Like their sculpts aren't the greatest, but when it comes to animation, they're pretty good. Like they're really, really good. So they stay within that realm to more so stick to the accuracy of the animated series. Whereas with Hot Toys, they want to give you a blend of in between, a little of animated, but also stick, you know, the realism, so you can pose it next to some of your figures that you already have, which I do like. I like when they do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. Definitely a good point on that. I'm not collecting any of the Bad Batch as of right now, so I'm glad you were able to answer that for us.
Yeah.
Sticking on the topic of storage, Adam is asking, how do you keep your 6 scale and statue packaging? I'm having a harder time with those figures than the figures themselves.
Those are really a problem.
So you can't see it, but yeah. So I keep every box, all the packaging within reason. Okay. So for different reasons, when it comes to moving, I can package it back up. I have the shipper. I don't like messing up my art boxes. I love the art boxes. I mean, that's part of the ambience. It's part of, you know, just a complete display or the packaging. It just creates that. But I keep it and I use it. So say, for instance, if I have certain figures, and I'm not a buy and sell person, everything I have is more personal for me. You know, I keep it for me. I don't sell anything unless I have to, unless I have 2 of the same figure, and then I'll sell one off. You know what I mean? So I'll just do it that way if there's too much. But at least when I'm doing that, you know, you're getting the packaging, you're getting the you know, and the shipper. Because the thing is, what are you going to do? Just send off the actual art box and just risk that being damaged? No. So I keep everything. The problem with that is I don't break them down. So I don't break down the shippers. I just put the art boxes back in, and then I just stack them with the shippers. And there's a whole bunch of that over there in space you will run out of. So that's why I'm trying to kind of keep that in mind. But it, you know, there are certain sacrifices for it. So that's what I would say. Yeah,
it's, you know, I hear that a lot too, like a kid from my husband. Sorry for bringing him up again. Sorry, husband. But like he's like, well, why do you need the boxes? They look great in the shelves. Like, do you need to keep? Yeah, I need to keep the boxes because, you know, I don't know if I'm ever going to move. I don't know if I'm ever going to sell something.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm just going to need to box it up. It's going to need to have a home to go into where it's safe.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's probably the biggest reason. And secondly, like you were saying, like just the art boxes look incredible. They're really handy for putting the figures back in and keeping the accessories in there because, you know, they're not going to become damaged. If I took all those accessories out, threw them in a baggie and put them in a shelf, like a drawer, I don't know. They might be okay. They might not. I'd be worried about it. So having those boxes, you know, I have more peace of mind keeping them. So I know they take up a lot of room, but just having them, I feel a lot more secure about it.
And on top of that, like you're not, you know, with me, I find that if I had to take all the accessories outside the box, put them in like a storage unit or like keep like a, you know, a shelving, like a compartment for like each, the problem is you have to label then. Everything has to be labeled so you know what accessories are where. You don't want to get accessories mixed up. Whereas if I have them inside the box, I know I can just find that box, pull it out, the accessories there. Boom, that's what I'm looking for. And I don't have to worry about that at that point. So that's the beauty of having these boxes, is that everything is organized within inside the box. So you don't have to worry about it. And the thing is, it used to kill me. Like when I hear a lot of people who say that they would get the stuff in and then they would destroy the art box and the shipper. And I'm like, oh, I would cringe because I'm like, yo, like that's part of like just having, you know, when you receive the package, it's just part of the presentation. So when you throw it away, it's just like, oh, it scares me, man. It scares me.
Right. Yeah, like a Hasbro or Mattel toy, something like that. You know, fine, I'll throw away the packaging, but like a Hot Toys or, you know, statues, like I kind of got to keep that. Like I don't really do statues a whole lot, but I have a couple of them, and you know, they're like almost like quarter scale, like bigger, and it's like, okay, well, there's no way that I'm not going to keep the box because you got to have the box to protect those.
Right.
Yeah, you do. You definitely have to have it to protect because it just makes so much more sense. So I just, for me, and I mean, I got to look at her because I'm just like, you know what? That's why, like we always talk about, like we need a bigger house. We definitely need to get a bigger house. so then it's not a problem. We don't have to worry about it. And luckily enough, like I said, because here in the East Coast, this is the basement area. So I'm actually in the basement. Like my office, everything is down here in the basement. She's, the kids and everybody, she's upstairs. She has her desk upstairs for teaching, like first, her stuff, her assortments and everything. But everything down here, I say, like, here's the thing, like when it comes to furniture, getting furniture, designing like the bathroom, the upstairs and all that, she likes to do it. So when we first moved together, right? Tell this story. Everything I had magically disappears.
Oh, not everything.
Almost everything that magically disappears because she likes to take care of, she needs to have her space and everything upstairs. So I'm like, all right, cool. So down here, I've anointed this my kingdom. So this is where I keep all my stuff, and everything. But I still try to, be sensible at the same time and, try to work things out where we can kind of like, come to it, like meet each other halfway and figure out how to make things work. So that's what I'm in the midst of trying to do.
Yeah.
But here's the thing though. It's funny on weekend when we don't have anything else to do it.
Right. Well,
because there's always something to do. So
it's
crazy.
Yeah, it's hard to find time, but it's like I always talk about, like these displays and organizing and putting things in the right spot. But like, really, it's kind of like, I've never like gone to a spot where I said everything is finished. This is the collection room. It's done. I never have to touch it again. Cause that's just not a reality, right? Like if you're collecting and you're adding more to your collection. So it's always like in progress, right? It's always evolving and it's always changing. And that's cool. That's cool.
So I still I have all of my from everything from Phantom Menace all the way up to even some from Phantom Menace to, as a matter of fact, no, I have everything from, or most of my figures from New Hope back in like the late 70s, early 80s, all the way up to Revenge of the Sith. Still in the pack. I'm talking about 12 scales, still in the packaging, but I have it inside of bins. So it's still in packaging, all mint condition, everything that I still have. It's just in bins, and I don't take them out to display them. I haven't done it yet because I'm afraid to, because I'm like the condition. I'm just like, I just want to keep them there unless, it comes down to having to display those. But right now, I just keep them in bins.
Right on. Right on. Well, at least they're somewhere safe. You know that they're there.
Yeah.
And by the way, Mary is happy to see you. I know Mary joins all of our live streams.
Mary Sullivan, how you doing?
Well, cool. So before we go any further, I want to do a little bit more of talk about the both of you, because Leah, you've been on the show just once, and that was like, I looked at it and I think it was like April of last year. So it's been a while. So I'd like to talk to the both of you a little bit about, your content and what you do, and, what sparked your passion and interest in doing that. So LaToya, let's start with you.
Okay. You mean like my collection as far as Star Wars and figures and?
Yeah, all of it.
Well, I have to attribute it to Leo and his passion for it. I did grow up in a family, mostly women, but I had a handful of male cousins who were into the comic books. We would watch X-Men cartoons. We would act and pretend to be some of the characters when we were playing outside. So growing up a tomboy, I was always just kind of, gravitating to what, they were doing. And it was always of interest to me. Of course, as I'd gotten older, there were a little more Barbies. So still in the, figure area, but just kind of gotten away from it and didn't really have, people around me who were, say into the comics as much, or even, the movies that had come from the comics. So, I couldn't really get into it, or continue with my interests like I did when I was younger until I met this guy. He dropped a one-liner on me, I think on one of our first dates, and he's like, by the way, like, I'm a geek, and I'm thinking, okay, I mean, that's cool. I guess we'll find out what all that entails, right? Or what all it means. But then I saw, the figures, and he's telling me, I'm hearing these YouTube videos that he's playing in the background all the time. And then he starts talking to me about, wanting to shoot the videos and do reviews for these figures, and, eventually start his own like YouTube channel. And I was all for it. Like, I was a sucker for it. I'm like, first of all, it's something that you're interested in, like you've invested over the years. Like, you're definitely passionate about it. So first of all, go for it for yourself. But then too, like, I was intrigued. I'm like, so I might actually get the opportunity to kind of like, be pulled back into this world. And for me, he just kind of busted the door right open. So I'm like grateful for that. Like, literally, I complain sometimes, about the spacing, but like I said, like, I love it. These figures we go and see movies, and I'm looking like he is talking about, well, I wonder which figure they're going to drop from these movies. So yeah, I mean, I have to attribute it to him. You guys see him on the shows, you see, the photos of these figures that he's posting, you hear how he talks about these conversations. Literally, I had to like pull my eyes away from looking at him, like falling in love on camera right now. But no, it's but the journey is like, it's awesome. Like, I've met so many of you out there, who just kind of welcomed me, and me welcoming him, and you all. So it's amazing. Like, I did purchase my first figure. What was that? When was that? A few months back. She's sitting right over there, the armorer. So that has become my favorite character right now. I can't wait to see even more from her. Like, how they portrayed her in the last season of Mando was ridiculous. Like, so I promised myself that I wasn't going to get any more. I'm like, I'm one and done. I'm one and done. But I've been seeing some that are calling my name.
That's a
so so we'll see. But it's been an amazing journey. Like I said, I love it here. And I just thank you for pulling me in, and everybody else for just welcoming me. It's been amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome. And
Yeah.
it always starts with one, and
Mm.
then
Oh,
then there's like, okay, well, maybe one more. Okay, now I have two. Well, I have two. Why don't I keep going? Like,
right.
it started like with me with the A New Hope Princess Leia, when I think I got it like in 2016, and then I was like, this is the only one I need. Finally, I have a Hot Toys. I've been admiring them for like the last 8 years. Now I have one, and then yeah, it exploded basically. So yeah, people ask me for collecting advice sometimes, like, should I buy this? Don't ask me, please, because I'm going to tell you yes, yes, and yes. So, but no, that's really great. And tell us about, because Leia was saying that you decorate a lot, and that's more your responsibility. I was like, well, I'm sure it looks great, because I looked at the Cocoa Tulip, and it looks like your style is just mesmerizing. So tell us a little bit about what you do with that.
So as far as my personal style, it's just been something that, I don't know, it's just been with me since I was young. I come from a really big family. And so we're just around a bunch of cousins all the time. And one of the, I guess my earliest memories with fashion was my mom taking us to this store. It was called Hills. And she's like, pick out a couple I know, right? Hills from back in the day,
spot.
Very inexpensive spot. We were
spot.
very modest means back then. But
yeah.
I remember my mom saying, just pick out a couple outfits, and she kind of let us, choose what we wanted. And I remember they used to have these matching sets where it was like a tank top and like some biker shorts attached, on the same hanger. And I remember thinking, like, I could get like 3 or 4 of these and wear them, but if each of them somehow matches the other, then I'd have more than 4 outfits. So, that was my earliest memory of just kind of, thinking about how I can, make these sets my own. And it just kind of grew and, just evolved, just over the years. And I really just organically, just believe it's just self-expression. It shows up in each and every one of us in a different way. There are no standards, right? When it comes to this. My slogan for my website, well, my website is the Cocoa Tulip, but my slogan is like beyond the visual. So it's like, your personal style even outside of dress is just like who you are, and then how that is emitted. So when it comes to the house, it's a mix of practicality and style. If there's a desk sitting somewhere in the living room and there's no use for it, then I have no use for it. It's purposeless, you know what I mean? So a lot of even just kind of prints and pillows and things is just, okay, am I going to use these to cuddle with when I'm watching a movie next to him at night, or are they just for show? And mostly I find the medium between the two. So I do always ask him if he likes something, just so that he has some say or thinks he does.
Yeah.
But it always works out.
We're getting like new carpet in here. When is it? Next week or the week after?
Yeah, next week.
Next week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So next week we're getting new carpet, so we got to move some things around. But yeah, I'm pretty sure everything's going to get checked, because when there's newness, because they're painting the walls and they're laying new carpet. So I know when the newness comes, that means that there's going to be a need for new furniture. So I know that's going to become a conversation
down the line.
See.
Nice. Well, I love it. That's a great story. Similarly, we've been talking about painting like the walls, having them repainted, and I'm thinking like, oh my God, like, okay, it's like, yeah, just like the logistics of it, right? Like taking everything off the shelves and trying not to lose like little accessories for little 3 and 3/4 inch figures. Like I'm worried about it, but hey, sometimes you got to do things.
Yeah. Definitely. It's when
it's going to be a lot.
It's going to be a lot, and because it's her upstairs, it's her space. I kind of let her play, because the thing is, it's like you gotta use wisdom. I don't want to have too much to say about it because I know I have my space down here, and I know how I want things, and visually what the vision is for it. So to let her have her space up there to play around, I just agree. Hey, yeah, that looks good. And most of the times I agree because I'm being sincere about it, because it does look good. But I'm also being in a safe space where I'm like, okay, if I'm agreeing with that, then I have a space down here that I can play around with, and I don't have to worry about it.
I know your secret now.
Works. It works. It's not a secret. It's out. Gotcha. It just works. It does not work.
It does.
Exactly. There you go. See?
Awesome. Well, if it works, it works. Comment here from Adam says that he loves this story very much.
Oh man, thanks a lot, Adam. Thanks, my bro. Thank you, man. Thank you very much, man.
And Jacob following up with Star Wars collecting is addicting. Yep.
Yes.
Yep. You know.
Yes, it is, and we love it. I mean, that's for me. Star Wars is everything, and when I say everything, it is everything. It means more to me than literally, like when I'm sitting up here thinking about, look, let me get in shape. Let me keep my health going, because these delays in these films, I want to be able to see them. You know what I mean? Like, I need to keep myself healthy and going. You know what I mean? Because it's like everything I love about the IP, since seeing it in theaters in 1977, that's just not going to change. You know what I mean? I just love it. So it's always life for me.
And this is one of the things I admire about you guys who have been like Star Wars fans from like day one, to have said that you went and saw the first one all the way back then, and to still be with it and to still be vested. I remember seeing the third one, and there was another, I can't remember which one it was. And remember saying to myself, you know what, I want to go back and like rewatch these, like watch them from, the first one, the second one. And just never really getting around to it until, I asked him, I'm like, you know what? I kind of always did want to go back and like watch all of the Star Wars movies. He thought I was joking. He's like, okay, like maybe I was just trying to like, like flirt with them or like be cheeky. And I wasn't. Like, I was super serious. I showed up. He told me to come over for the weekend. I showed up in my Darth Vader zip up onesie, and we camped out all weekend and got him done. So he took care of me. But to see how vested you guys are. It's amazing to watch. Like, I admire that, just the dedication and the love for it. Yeah.
Totally. Leah, I thought you were gonna go with the Moff Gideon comment there. I thought you were gonna say Star Wars means more to me than you will ever know.
You'll ever know. I was almost there though. Almost there.
Almost there.
Yeah.
Well, cool. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about your channel, what you've been doing lately with 1/6 Scale Man?
It's so basically, like I said, I mean, a lot of it is I still do Say What Wednesdays, when we talk about 1/6 scale collecting. We still have Uncivilized Scoundrels, which is all Star Wars talk on Thursdays. So I'm still doing that. Also, I have Collectors Lounge International on Sundays. And, of course, we have Figure Flex Friday on, every Friday, where we, allow the viewers. It's not about us, but we allow the viewers to submit work, photos, pieces, collections, everything that they actually have, so they can showcase that. So just kind of getting into their world. Also, Comic Book Talk with Friends on, Mondays, where it's like me and 3 other people get around and we talk about everything that's going on with the comic releases, everything from, comics, physical media, and film, just the history of certain artists, writers, stuff like that. So people can be educated themselves on, a lot of stuff that we love. But mostly, like I said, for me, and I do also a segment called The Corner, which is a half-hour show every week whenever there's a release. I'll get on, do like a half-hour show, people chime in, and we just have these conversations about figures, and, I give my, viewpoint on those figures and stuff like that. So just a lot going on just to kind of keep the show, to keep the channel busy, talk about the things that we actually love. And just, sort of like scaling back on a lot of things. But I mean, I think that, and you probably feel the same way, is like what we do is it's a way to network with not just, viewers, or I mean, not just, other content creators, but even the viewers themselves, so they can ask us questions. Even they give us ideas, on certain pieces, or, they'll ask us, for advice. And I love that interaction, because it's like this community is like a family. We've created this, we're a part of a family, and it continues to grow. And, years ago, we didn't have a space where we could, do this. I can't, I have a group of friends that I can have this, I can talk to, but not about collecting, because there's not too many of them that actually roam in this space. So to have the community where we can actually socialize, talk about the things from 12th scale, 1/10, 6th scale, quarter scale, whether it's half scale, 1/3, life size, we can talk about these things. We have these spaces where we can have these conversations, and I love that. So that's what the channel is mainly all about, and it's creating a positive space, because we don't see it a lot. You know what I mean? And I've actually removed myself from a lot of groups that got kind of negative, got kind of toxic. So I kind of removed myself from it, scaled back, and just focused on my own channel, focused on my own Facebook group, which is, the Figure Flex Friday group. I have never had any drama in that group, because it's all about the fans. It's all about everybody who just posts their pictures, and everybody loves it. They love critiquing, and it's just brought so many people. It's brought so many people together, and I love that. So, yeah.
Well said. Awesome. Yeah, no, that's really cool. And I think you hit on a really important note. Like, it's fun to collect. It's fun to talk about, collectibles and videos and through podcasting and live streams and stuff. But really, it's like the people you meet through these communities, through, like live streams, through going to conventions and shows, and, social media. Just like I've met some really cool people, in these communities, and some of them have become like some of my, better like friends, because we've gone to points where like we've been able to hang out, been able to like after a convention, just whatever it is. And it's really cool, because I mean, it's a whole other world. It's one thing like you and your own little, your space collecting and enjoying it, but then to like share that and communicate about it, and really celebrate the passion of that with others is just really special.
Yeah, definitely it is. I mean, when we went to Star Wars I mean, I've been now, it'll probably be like, I want to say 4 celebrations now, I believe. It's 4 or 3. 4.
I've been with
So I think
two
it's
with
been
you.
actually. So I've been to 3 celebrations now. One was in Orlando, the next one was in Anaheim, and we just we did London, and we're planning on doing Star Wars Celebration in Japan in 2025. Hopefully, cross our fingers.
Can't wait. I
That's what
know, like
we're
that
knocking
moment.
on wood. That's what we're working towards. But through that, we've through all the friends that the relationships that we've developed through this, meeting up with people that we have known and become close with, hanging out with them. That was
Mhm.
always, that was pretty much the bonus.
Yes.
Was the incentive was just going. I think the bonus was just meeting everybody, and it just we just felt like one
Mhm.
complete unit, and it was really,
Mhm.
really, it was fun. Like, again, like
Definitely.
you said, like you meet people that are a part of the community, so they're like, they become more closer than just friends you have outside of the community. You know what I mean? So it's good. It's been, and it's a space where you occupy your time in a productive way, and also if you're going through a lot of stress, you have this community where you can actually come to, and it's just like, a lot. I think all of us, like when we go through a certain level of stress, like if you were teaching, me with work, anybody else with work, when you come down and you look at your collection, it's like all that stress goes away because then you're focused on that. And just the beautiful art pieces and the displays you have, it's just
Mhm.
like, yeah, I love that. That's worth it for me.
Mhm.
Yeah, very well said. It's really it definitely takes the edge off when you have a collection to come home to and admire and think about,
Yeah,
and that's really needed. You really need that outlet to like kind of
yeah.
express yourself and to kind of like let loose a little bit.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Um, and you make a really good point too about the conventions, like the celebrations in particular. Like anytime I've gone, like it's just like positive, like fans,
Yeah.
positive energy just coming from everybody. Everybody wants to be there. Everybody's happy to be there. Doesn't matter what aspects of Star Wars you love or don't love. Like everybody's just happy, and that energy is really like palpable. So it's a really great environment to be in. I always recommend like
Yeah,
people
definitely.
that haven't been to like a celebration, like definitely go to one because it's
Oh
just
my
awesome.
God.
Yes.
It's unlike anything. It's like, it's crazy because we talk about the divisive community when it comes to Star Wars, and how a lot of people, have their opinions on certain things, and they're, sometimes it can separate and it can divide. But when you go to Celebration, it's like everybody, it's a one unified function, and everybody's there celebrating the same cause, and they just, they're just enjoying themselves, whether it's cosplayers, where you're at, if you're, basically watching a live stage, or if you're part of a panel, or you're picking up certain things, you're hanging out, like it's just one
Mhm.
cohesive unit. And
Yeah.
that's what I love about going to these conventions,
Mhm.
because it doesn't matter what goes on outside the convention. When you're all in one space, it's just like you're there for one thing, and it's about Star Wars, and you're just having fun.
Yes, definitely. I'll say that too, because even though, of course, I'm not as invested as you are, but to go like as your partner, you know what I mean? Just
Mm-hmm.
geek adjacent. It's an amazing experience. So if there are any, spouses, significant others out there who are kind of questioning whether or not they should accompany, their loved one, like just go. Just go, just do it. And for anything but to just sit back and watch in awe of, again, your significant other just living and being in the moment. It's such an amazing experience.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and really just kind of, connects us even more because then, I get to share in, and meeting the same people that I'm talking to in the chat or, different ones who that, I've seen on the show.
Mm-hmm.
And then just seeing those bonds. Like I have so much footage in my phone of me literally behind this guy, just watching him walk around and people stopping to, say, hey, I just wanted to meet you. I've been watching the show. Or, someone saying, hey, I've been on the show before, but, we're finally meeting in person. So,
Mm-hmm.
like just those moments alone is it's just worth it. So if you're on the fence about going, just go, just do it.
Mm-hmm.
Promise you'll love it.
Mm-hmm.
Promise.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, did you ever hear my celebration? I think it was 4 from Los Angeles story. I don't know, Leo, have you heard the story about my hot dog ordering experience.
No, what happened?
We were just talking about hot dogs. There was
Yeah,
a
we
hot
were.
dog scene in The Flash, and he made this hot dog look so good in June
Yeah,
on
he
screen.
did. He
So
did.
please tell us.
So, celebration, I think it was 4 in Los Angeles, 2007. I was there like midway through the day. I decided to, I was hungry, so I went down. They had a cafeteria in the bottom level, and I was in line and I was ordering food, and I ordered asked for a hot dog because it's just like kind of like that typical convention food type stuff. And then there was a lady next to me, and she said, "I'll have one too." And I didn't really like look over or anything. I was just like minding my own business, and like I go through the line. And I pay, then the lady next to me pays, and then I walk over to like the station where you can put like your dressings on your food, like your ketchup and stuff. And then the lady comes over with me, and she starts doing the same thing, and like I'm putting like relish on my thing and just putting like ketchup on hers or whatever. And then I start noticing like a group of people like kind of surrounding. And I'm like, this is weird. What are they doing? Like, this is a long time ago. I don't have like a YouTube or anything yet.
Yeah.
Like, what are they doing? And then like I finally looked at the lady next to me. It was Carrie Fisher.
Oh,
For real?
nice.
Wow.
That's cool.
Did you say anything to her?
I just said like hi.
Oh
Man.
wow.
Man.
That's way
yeah. And like, I mean, she had security, but they weren't like right next to her. They were like at the entrance. And then when people started forming, like they finally came over and kind of like ushered her out. But it was just such a weird, like surreal thing. Like I just couldn't believe it happened.
Yeah. But those moments could happen. I had actually met Mary Elizabeth Winstead at Anaheim. I was we were just kind of hanging around, taking pictures of some cosplayers, meeting. I think we had met Calvin in that moment. We were standing around talking, and I see, there was a guy walk by, and there was a little girl, and there was this woman afterwards. And I looked and I saw like the profile, and I was like, wait a second. And I'm looking around to see if anybody else is noticing that this is her, and nobody else is watching. And I'm like, I tapped him. I'm like, babe, I think that this is. And he was like, really? And so I like just walked after her, and I, just kind of tapped her. I was like, excuse me. And I was like, I know who you are. You can kind of tell she was, moving fast and wanting to be incognito. And I was like, can I please get a picture with you? And she kind of looked around. She was like, come on. So it's up on my page. And I was like, just super excited that, that moment had just happened, and they just kind of took off after that. She kind of gave, nodded to security, like it's okay. But she stopped for me, and we got a photo, and I was like,
that's really cool.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah, it was.
She spotted her out of nowhere. She knew who she was.
I was like, I know that.
Yeah,
he was not getting away.
Yeah, she could. And security, as soon as because I'm walking, like she's running to get the picture, but I'm walking behind her, letting her get the picture. But security had surrounded, so I just had to wait. Wait until she was done. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
And Ewan wasn't with her.
He was on stage. Like he was around it because he was basically at that point. No, as a matter of fact, he was taking photos. So he was basically in the basically getting photos and stuff like that. And then I think he had a stint on the live stage because that was around the time that they were promoting like Obi-Wan at that point. And so like it was it was a lot of people there at that time, but yeah, he was close by. He was definitely close by. It's crazy because, she was there, and we had heard inklings that she would be part of the Ahsoka show, but they didn't make that announcement there. They made the announcement here, or actually in London, brought her out on stage and stuff like that. So that was amazing. Yeah,
that's really cool. I've been outside, but I've been outside of Ewan's house before. I don't know if it's her house as well, but in LA, I'm part of the official Marilyn Monroe fan club. So like, that's another one of my things I'm really passionate about is like her story and everything. So on the anniversary of her passing, like a group of us go to outside her house, like, it's like gated and everything. We just kind of go and like do a little prayer and just kind of, just kind of, we're just in that moment together. And he actually bought the house right next door to her former house. So last time we were there, like the gate was like open and we heard voices. Like I don't know whose voices, but it was just kind of like, oh, I hope, like, wouldn't it be cool if he just walked out right now and like said, hello there or something.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
yeah, it didn't happen. Maybe this year, I don't know. But
my
good luck.
He's a cool dude though. Like he's just so humble and cool, and you know what I mean. Like really a nice guy. So yeah, him and Hayden. Like we took pictures of with Hayden Christensen at this last celebration. Him, Rosario Dawson, John, Giancarlo Esposito, all really humble people. Really humble people. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. So y'all touched on something that I wanted to talk about a little bit, and that is, when we go to celebration, like it's the positive energy. It's people that want to be there and they're happy to be there. But online, there's a lot of the opposite of that. There's a lot of toxicity. There's, and in some groups it's more prominent than others. But there's a lot of people that are just happy to enjoy what they like, and then there's people that aren't happy that you like what you like, and they're more than willing to let you know why you're wrong about liking those things. So I guess, I don't really have an outline for this kind of a discussion, but I mean, why is that? Why are there so many people that are just so unhappy that they have to go and, criticize people for liking what they like?
You know what? And I notice this a lot, and I say this a lot. It's the internet gives people, okay, so it's a catch-22 because we have a space where we can be vocal. Like we can be vocal. We can talk about the things that, that we love. We can talk about certain things. It is, and I always would love everything to be constructive. You know what I mean? Where it's just, when you're having these conversations, like you're keeping it within a medium, whereas, okay, look, if I'm opinionated about certain things, it's not to tell another person that they aren't allowed to like it, and I try to basically live in that space. But unfortunately, there's a lot of people that don't. They're passionate about certain things, but sometimes it's like where passion meets, blatant ignorance. You know what I mean? Like it just becomes that space. And it's okay to be passionate, but when you're passionate, it turns into a space where it's unsafe. It's unsafe for others who may love something that you don't love. That's when it gets really, really crazy. And it's unfortunate that for the last some-odd years that it's been within the Star Wars community. And that's terrible. Like it's really like to the point where people are talking about films and shows that they haven't even seen yet. That's the thing. Like they've already placed it in, they've already labeled these things without even seeing it yet. And they do it in a space where, okay, I'm comparing this to something that I've already seen. So obviously, if I've seen this and this was terrible, then that's going to be crap as well. We've heard it where people are blaming Kathleen Kennedy, they're blaming Disney, they're blaming execs, and all is fine. We don't know the story. We don't know everything behind the scenes. We're just going off of what we see and what we believe. And it's just right now a terrible space to live in. Whereas if you're a Star Wars fan and you happen to love something, like myself, I loved this last season of Mando. I loved it. I loved everything about it. But there are people that didn't, even though the directive, especially with this story, the story that was told was about them taking back Mandalore. Everything was filtered around that. It was Bo-Katan's story, her redemption. That was her redemption story, her bringing her people together, being the one that's selected to bring her people together. And I loved it. I loved everything about it. Even the struggle and her finding, and understanding that her way in the very beginning wasn't the right way. I loved everything about that. But again, we always hear people say, well, I want to see this. I want to see that. I would have loved to see this. And it's never really saying, well, the director took this approach, so obviously they had a vision. So I respect that vision. Even if you don't like it, I respect the director's vision, and it is what it is. And I try to find the good out of everything. But unfortunately, we live in a space now where everyone's hypercritical. And if somebody likes something that they don't like, the internet has given them a space to sometimes be extremely, extremely unsafe and I don't like to say toxic, but that's what it is. You know what I mean? We can only call it what it is because things get passed around like Chinese whispers. You know, you're not allowed to be in a certain space. You're not allowed to, have opinions. It just it's crazy. And this word that I hate so much that gets thrown around.
Please don't say it.
I don't want to say it, but it's a word that gets thrown around, and people, I don't really think that they don't have the concept of what that word really means. When I hear woke, I cringe and I tone out and I just like, you know what, I'm done, because you're adding that layer of a lack of understanding to something that has nothing to do with it. And I don't really like it, but at the same time, okay, it's your opinion, let it be. But when I hear that, I'm just like, I can't.
Yeah, and that gets thrown around a lot online. Yeah, no, I mean it's not just in Star Wars too. Like we see this in a bunch of different fandoms. I think Star Wars is most notable, but
It's most notable, but you see it in Marvel, you see it in DC, and you see it in a lot of these IPs, these franchises where people, it's just like they are just miserable. A lot of people are just really, really, really miserable, and they're not willing to give. Like, look, with any IP, there's a lot of trial and error, and I think that with Star Wars, there has been a lot of trial and error. We got The Force Awakens, we saw promise. But then we got The Last Jedi, and then we got Rise of Skywalker, and there was some divisiveness there. But there were certain key points in there, like, for instance, this last celebration, when they brought Daisy Ridley out on stage to announce that she's doing another Star Wars film. People were excited there, and I was amongst one of them because despite of the divisiveness with the franchise and the sequels, I think that there was potential in the story. They just did certain characters the wrong way. And the story wasn't media. Put it this way, they didn't have a plan. It wasn't cohesive. And I think that there was a lot riding on a character that shouldn't have actually had that much pressure. And I think that with the writers, with the right script, if you write it well, there's potential. But as soon as they announced that, I like I always do, and I don't want to. I got on social media to her page because I was going to I just wanted to put under the post, happy that you're back. Can't wait to see what's going on. There was a photo that she took for a magazine, right? She took these photos for magazine. A magazine that had nothing to do with Star Wars at all. Nothing to do with Star Wars. If you would have saw the barrage of ignorant comments under that post, it was pathetic. And that was one of the reasons why she removed her social media in the first place, was because of that. One of the reasons why what is it? Marie Tran, why she basically removed her social media was because of that. Because people really got unsafe and vicious with comments. And I'm just like, like, it's okay to have opinions. It's okay not to like something, because I'm not going to tell you what to like. I just know what I like, and I just keep it there. But at the same time, we can agree to disagree, but you don't have to attack a person's character, their family, threaten them, and just really put out that unsafe energy. And that's just basically what it is. And unfortunately, and you know what, to be quite honest, also, Victoria, it's not even just with the chat or people out there, but also even with social media pundits. A lot of content creators create that atmosphere and allow it to go on. And I see that and I'm like, wow, really? This is what you're doing? So I've even actually, I've to the point where a lot of even content creators that I used to follow, I've unfollowed them because of the energy that they bring on. And I'm just like, it's not a space to be in. And I got tired of seeing it come down my timeline. I got tired of seeing it on YouTube. And I was just like, you know what? Let me just back up. But again, I don't, as much as I would want it to change, this is the way the world is right now. It is how it's going to be. We just got to kind of navigate through it.
Yeah, no, that's very well said. Yeah, it's like a new. I mean, social media has just really, like you said, given us this platform to. It's like, what do you use it for? Do you use it for good? Use it for
Yeah.
bad? And it's like, unfortunately, a lot of people are choosing to use it to attack other people for what they like, and like
Mhm.
you said, attack people that are involved in these films and these creative processes that don't deserve a lot of that negativity. So it's yeah, navigating it and trying to find like how do you go about it? Because you obviously can't control all these people from doing what they're doing, right, and saying what they're saying. So it's tough. I don't know that there's any solutions to it.
The thing is, it's like we just, as much as we see it, and like sometimes you can even ask her, like there was at a moment where I just felt like I was going to check out. Like I was going to literally check out of social media, check out of YouTube. I just didn't want any parts of it anymore. But then I have to always think about the things that I love and think about those that are out there who depend on the channel for a good space, a safe space. For those who are promoting positive energy, that's what I think about. You know what I mean? That's the space that I kind of dwell in. It's just the way it is. And I'm just like, you know what? I take the good with the bad and I formulate my own opinion, my own scenario, and I try to keep it healthy. And I find the good in everything, you know, and I'm in control of the content that I allow. I'm in control of the comments that I'm allowed to go across. If it's something that I don't like, sorry, I'm not going to show it. If a post that's posted or a comment that's posted that I think is very defensive or offensive, ignorant, I'm going to delete it. That's just the way it is because I don't want that material. I don't want that going around. If it's constructive criticism and it's an opinion, even if it's something that they don't like, but it's constructive, I'll allow it. I'll be like, yeah, fine. I see your viewpoint and I respect it. But when you start attacking people and it gets really rude, or you attack other people who are commenting stating that they like certain things, when it gets to that point, I'm just like, nah, I just can't allow it.
I think that's probably really the only way, right? Is if each individual decides that, okay, I won't be that person, right? And I won't allow that in my space, on my streams, in my chat, in my group, or whatever the case is. I would say that that's really like the only way. And again, that doesn't stop it because it's going to continue, but at least, you're controlling yourself and your space. So I think you do a really good job of that. I know. Yeah, no, you're welcome. You definitely have been able to just kind of keep things positive and respectful, even when there's differences of opinions, because I know there have been some heated discussions, but I like the fact that in the end, you guys can all come back and end the show saying, okay, we had a difference of opinion. We had a heated discussion, guys, but it's all love and it's all respect. And, let's just keep it moving. So
it's crazy because like comic book talk with friends on Mondays.
That's the spiciest.
That's the spiciest show I have. But that's because, and it's not with the chat, it's with us on the panel because we know each other. So it's always spicy between us. But at the end of the day, we all, once it's done, it's like, we going through this like really spicy conversation. And then after it's done, it's like, yo, what we eating after this? You know what I mean? So that's just how it is because we expect it. We're like we call ourselves the first take of comics. You know what I mean? Like the first take on ESPN. We're the first take of like the comic book community because that's just the way it is. But again, it's all constructive. Like it is. It's still heated, but it's constructive. And we understand that we respect each other. And I just wish that that's the type of energy that could kind of like escalate out there in the community. But again, it's to each their own. And, you're not going to we live in a space, Victoria, like we're not going to make everybody happy. And we just have to understand that.
Right. Yeah, no, it's definitely true. I mean, all you can do is push forward and, be true to what your passion is really with this stuff. And it is a conscious decision to not it's so easy to go down that path of being negative and critical, but it's a conscious decision to say, hey, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to, be calm and try and take the higher road because there's so much negativity on the internet. And I don't think people are really comprehend or even think about the impact what a lot of what their comments can have on somebody, because you never know what somebody's dealing with, with their health, with
Right.
their living situation, like with anything. Like, so it's just like, I don't know, there needs to be a little more empathy there.
Yeah, it really does. It really, really does. Yeah. It really does, because a lot of people use this space again like it's therapeutic for them. It's a way to convey, or sometimes if they're trying to get through certain things, they come to this community for that, and when you start, I've actually dealt with an individual who used to be on a few shows, and because of certain things that was happening in the community, he completely checked out of social media, period. You know what I mean? And but I had to respect that. You know what I mean? It's not for the faint of heart. Like literally, it's not. You know what I mean? For what we do, we have to understand that there is we're not going to be liked by everybody. We're not. As much as we would think that that's a utopia way of thinking, it's not the way the real world works. So we're not going to be liked by everyone. And we have to accept that and accept our space and our place. But at the same time, we create the atmosphere that we want. We create the foundation. We decide on what grows from it. We guide that. So.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And, I found that out very early on in this, process. Like, I started the channel in 2013, and, I always say back then there was maybe like a dozen like Star Wars, like collectibles, like creators, like on YouTube. Now there's, I don't know, thousands probably, but like I found out really early on that, a lot of collectors didn't necessarily want to see like, a girl talking about Star Wars toys. Like, so it's definitely something that you feel, and it's you got to do your best sometimes, because it's tough out there. But yeah, you're right, set the atmosphere and set that tone, and don't sell for anything less, because it's hard.
And I love this simple
because now look at you just kept talking, right?
Exactly.
You just kept doing it, owning it, and now look, we love your shows.
Like I applaud the simple fact that like when I'll never forget when I was going to have you on the show, and I remember Mario found out, and he was like, "Yo, Victoria's going to be on your show." I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yo, she's the GOAT," and I was like, "Okay, really?" And I was like, "Yo, for real? Like she is?" And just started looking at the content and everything, and just researching and seeing how long you've been in the game, and then always watching and going back watching old shows. I was like, "Yo, she really is the GOAT." Like she really is the GOAT. Like there's like you've been doing it for so long. Like you're honestly can say that since you've been doing it since then, that you are sort of like not just a pioneer in this atmosphere, but also like the martyr for a lot of women who have been frowned upon. And that's what I didn't really understand. And I was like, yo, we have a lot of women collectors out there, a lot of them that really, really collect, but are afraid to step to the forefront because of how they're received and perceived. And I'm like, that's not, and I've always said that I want to do a full female show where I just have a lot of female collectors on the show and, talking about their collecting, how long they've been doing it, what they love, and just, how they curate their collection, stuff like that. And I love seeing it. But at the same time, the ones that try to do it, and I think that they really need that level of support in this community. They really do. And they're not getting it as much. And I'm like, come on, like if more people can see how you've started and how far you've come and you've made it through this whole thing, and you have a following, you have a clientele, you have all that, then it's more inspiring for them to continue, because there's a disbelief that, and it just like, when you say that, like, a lot of people don't want to see, or, they don't want to talk about or see women talk about. I'm like, why not?
It's just too bad.
Why not? Like, why not? Like, what is the problem with a woman talking about like that? I would think that's attractive to more people. Like, yo, that's a woman. She's amazing. And she loves collecting. Like, that's the full package. I would think that people would view her from that. But it's like, when I see that, I'm like, yo, that's really, like this is the world that we live in, where, you know, I just think that like it's like we've come far, but there's still more steps that need to be made. You know what I mean? There's still, and on top of that, it needs to be a mutual thing where there's that level of support. You know what I mean? I really believe that.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for that. That's very kind comments. Thanks to Mario too for saying that. That's really nice of him.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I will say that, you know, for every negative person, there has been some awesome people. And, you know, if that weren't the case, then I still wouldn't be, you know, doing live streams like this, or still wouldn't be, you know, creating anything. So most everybody's been awesome, including most everybody here in the chat. So a couple of comments there I'm not so sure about, but yeah, everybody for the most part has been great. Yeah, well, cool. Were there any other topics you guys wanted to bring up or to discuss?
I like I said, it's been a blast. I've definitely had a blast on the show. You know what I mean? You know, just having a conversation and talking about the things we love. Like, I'm all for it.
Awesome. Well, same here. It's been a lot of fun. We'll have to do it again sometime. Not wait a whole year to do it again.
No,
yeah,
right?
like more often, whenever you need me, you just let me know and I'm there.
Yeah,
I'm there.
Awesome. Thanks to the both of you. Really appreciate you being on Social Hour. And it has been a blast. I'm excited to see the Flash tomorrow. Let you know how I like it. Yeah, thanks for everybody who's been hanging out with us here in the chat, leaving comments, asking questions. We really appreciate you guys as always. Are you guys going to Comic-Con?
Well, okay, so we're not going to SDCC. Some SDCC is really hard to get through, like especially being over here on the East Coast and getting over there. Like, it has to be planned a certain way. But it's like we're going to make it over there one of these years. We haven't gotten there yet. But normally we go to New York Comic-Con. This year we because of everything that we got going on, we decided we weren't going to go. But who knows? Because like I said, I mean, I'm thinking about once because a friend of ours, Vinny, he might actually have a table at Artist Alley. So if that's the case, I would love to go up and just support him and just basically give him that support, because I don't want him to be there by himself. I know he's going to be up there probably with his girl, but I want to go up and support him, and check him out, because it's a proud moment. And what other way to share that moment with the friends and people that have been with you through the entire time. So yes, I'm thinking we should take that trip. Even if we go up for like this, if we go up on a Saturday and just stay overnight, do a Saturday and a Sunday, we might do that.
Cool. Yeah. Well, right on. Well, thanks again to both of you for coming on. It's been really a great conversation. And all right, so Latoya, where can our viewers go to look you up on the interwebs?
All right, so I am on Instagram at Coco Tulip, and also Behind Every Geek. So that is my emerging geek adjacent page. I'm so excited to put more content there and kind of breathe a little bit more life into it now that, summer's here and I have a lot more time on my hands to kind of get to some of this old, content to throw up. So you can find me there. And again, that's at Behind Every Geek. My website is thecocotulip.com. I will be starting a personal blog there within the next few weeks. So if you follow me on Instagram, you'll definitely get those updates. So yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Sounds great. And I like the phrasing geek adjacent. That's cool.
Yes. Yeah. It's fun. It's a fun space.
I can't wait. I just can't wait for it to start. It's really fun.
Coming.
Nice. We'll be looking forward to that. And Lael, where can our guests go to look you up online?
Oh yeah, man. They can find me, of course, on the 1/6 Scale Man YouTube channel. I'm slowly approaching 4,000 subscribers. So if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe to the 1/6 Scale Man YouTube channel. Also, you can find me on Instagram by the same name. But I'm never on Twitter. I don't interact on Twitter. I think like a lot of my stuff from Instagram goes straight to Twitter anyway. So I'm not really on there as much, but it's still growing, and it's still there. So I think my interactions on Instagram, hit Twitter so people know where to find me. But you can find me there. And also we have the Figure Flex Friday Facebook channel. So you can actually find me there as well. You can, if you haven't already joined that group, you can. But yeah, we have Figure Flex Friday every Friday, Collectors Lounge International on Sunday, Comic Book Talk with Friends on Monday. Wednesdays, we have Say What Wednesday, Uncivilized Scoundrels with all Star Wars talk on Thursdays, and full rotation. Also, if like when there's a new release or a reveal, I'll do like the corner, which is like a 30-minute episode each week. So yeah, that's what I got going on.
Awesome. Well, sounds great. And congrats on all your success with the channel and everything.
Thank you so much.
And the photos are looking great on Instagram as well.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Absolutely. So thank you both again very, very much. And thanks to everybody here in the chat and who's been watching. And no matter where you're tuning in from out in the galaxy, thanks for hanging out with us this evening on Cantina Social Hour. We'll see you next week. Be well, be safe. Take care.
See you later.